Okay, did I freeze? Hear me? Did I freeze? I always seem to have some problems. Okay, can you hear me now? Yes, I had to reboot my camera because as soon as I hit the camera to be online, it froze. So I turned it off, and now I think it's working. I hope so, at least. Please let me know if you can hear me, or I think the volume should be. Yes, we can hear you. Thanks, James. Thanks, James. Because it's always, well, it has happened that I've been talking 10 minutes without my mic on, but this time I think everything is fine. Sorry about the small glitch in the beginning, but that's what live streams usually are. I have probably haven't had any live streams that everything has gone like I wished. Maybe next time. But yeah, today's topic is all about. It's all about. Let me put that on. It's about February's 52 themes or 52 assignment themes because it's the last day of January and it's been the simple start or easy start for January. The things that did not go really well was the posting the images, and I will talk about that, and then we'll talk a little bit about January's feedback schedule, where I will have the live stream, and then I will talk about the February theme and assignments and what do I mean by challenging yourself or myself or whatever you want to call it. And then at the end, if we have time and there will be questions, then Q&A. But for first, a few things that I want to talk about is February 12th, Rob Trek is having his annual Micro Four Thirds meetup. So you might want to put that on your calendar. It will be on Rob's channel, and I do have a link there to that stream. So you might want to click that and set yourself a reminder so you won't miss this. It's going to be interesting. This time there'll be Rob, of course, and then Matti Sulanto, Emily Taupin, Robin Wong, myself, Emily Lovry, and Jimmy from Red 35. So really nice set of YouTubers and Micro Four Thirds users. It's going to be interesting to see. And then this is something else that I want to point out that if you're interested in hearing what the exciting announcement is or will be on February 8th, so they will be early in the morning, 6 a.m. GMT on OM System Global channel. There will be a live stream about that. There's also a link to that. So if you want to watch that, I know what it is, but sorry, I cannot say anything about it. So not nothing more about that because, as I said, I can't tell what it is. And then let's get into the January problem that I caused. It was all my fault because I didn't realize that events was not the best idea to do this because they only last for 2 weeks. You can't have a event that lasts all month. So what we will do February that we have to go back to the system that was used last year and just post the images to the feed. I know it's not the most convenient way because, of course, you want to ask questions on the feed and all that, but that's the best way. And I'm really sorry about this hassle in January, and that's why I will, well, you know, have the live stream and a bit more images than normal because some of the images were lost in the event and people didn't see them. So that will be changed in February with the next assignment. And the January images feedback will be next Monday, 6th of February at 7 p.m. So same time as today, this one, but on Monday. And there's also a link to that live stream in the description. So you have lots of live streams coming up if you're interested. So also the instructions on how to send the image was sent in my latest newsletter, and it is also in the description of this video. So there's a link to the Google form where you can send those who have done it before know how it goes. You post the image and then you uh, just tell me a little bit about the image. And of course, this time I think it is important that you tell me a little bit about the image so that I get a little hang of what was your thinking process. And that's also good to explain the image because you learn yourself when you start explaining and why you like this particular image and what was the whole point of the image. And send me one image out of the four different assignments. They were a little bit overlapping, like negative space and simple is beautiful. You could kind of like have this, it was a easy start. And as you probably already know, the February assignment will be a lot harder. I specifically wanted this one to be a lot harder and might not result in good images because when you're challenging yourself, you're testing, trying, that might be a bit different. Excuse me. No, right. Let's see if there are not really any questions, and just comment or onto the chat if you have any questions, and I will try to address them. I will try to look them as we go on. And as I said, if you have any other questions that's not regarding the US, we will have a short Q&A at the end if you still have some more questions. But let's go to the next one is February's theme, which is challenging myself. The whole point here is to really push yourself and make images that you might not have made before. And it's not easy. It's going to be really hard because the funny thing is that I was picking up these images for this live stream. It was really hard for me to find images that would fit. So the images that you see here might not be a good example of the thing that I'm doing. But for example, this image that's here, it's a drone shot where I had to photograph video and stills of this big rowing boat. It was a kind of like a charity thing that they rowed around the Helsinki, from the other side to the other side, and went all the way around. And it's not easy to do the drone shot with these things that of these boats that they were constantly coming. There were quite a few of them, and they were, as I said, it was a small kind of like race, and then they raised some money for I don't. To be honest, I don't even remember what the cause this time was, but it's an annual thing here in Helsinki, and it was quite of a challenge to do that, do both. I also took some still images while the drone was up in the air, which kind of broke the law. You're not supposed to do that, but I just had to because I was a one-man band doing video and stills with a drone at the same with a camera on shore. So it was a bit of a challenge. And then, as it is, okay, the theme is challenging myself, and then we have the assignments. And the assignments are, I have never photographed this before, trying this odd style, a place I often go to photograph with a new angle, a week with just one lens. And we'll talk about these a bit more. And the first one, this doesn't mean that you have to photograph them in this order. You can photograph anything or during the whole month all these four different topics or assignments. The first one that is listed here is I have never photographed this before, and this is for you to try a different genre. Go if you like to photograph birds, go to do some street photography and see how that is, and the vice versa. If you're more of a city photographer, go test out some wildlife or go into the woods and try to photograph totally different genre or different thing. And another thing is to find a new subject, which is kind of a bit related to this. But if you're a people photographer, go out and try to make good images without any people. That's what this is all about. So, and then when you send these images, please explain and tell us why this is something totally different for you, because it might be for bird photographer, for example, if you're a street photographer and you go photographing birds, it's not a different thing to the bird photographer, but it might be or it is a different thing for you, so that you learn. It doesn't mean that you have to continue doing that. You can go back to whatever you like to photograph the most, because I think that is the thing. But explore and see what other things you might want to photograph, just to get inspired, and you always learn, and you also start to appreciate more. Let's say that you're a bird photographer and then you try to do street photography and you realize that how hard it is actually. So you start also appreciating other people's work a little bit differently, and you kind of learn from those images when you see how hard it is, and you can take something back if you learn something, and that's I think the best way to learn is to go a little bit out of the comfort zone. On January, we were like, everybody most likely in their comfort zone, and now taking out of, or I will take you out of that. And as I said, this might result in not so good photographs, but don't worry about that. It's just it's a learning process, and or what could happen is that you might learn something, not learn, but you could find something totally new that you like and start photographing it, new things. It might take you to another path, which is also pretty good. If you find it that pushing yourself to another genre will be something that you really enjoy. Sound problem. What type of a problem? Is it the same thing last time? I'm not sure. Quite hard to, oops, breaking up the audio. I wonder why is that doing so. If I, is it better now? I wonder why that is, because I can't see the audio levels right now, and so is it fading in and out? I wonder why. That's interesting. Cuts in and out. This fading in and out. Choppy sound. I wonder if there's some problems with the microphone. Maybe. I hope it's not broken. No worse. If I turn it up a little bit, how is it now? Now I turned it up. And let me see if I just a minute. I will reset this. Just a minute. I wonder what. Can I? I'll turn the microphone on for a little while. Okay, let's try now. How is it now? Output, yeah. Is it clipping now? Because now I see all red over here. Worse when you turned it up. Okay, let's turn it down slightly. How is it now? So far, okay, better, better. Yeah, it's it's hard to. Is it now? Is it better now? I need to figure this out, and it's fine for me. Yeah, that's always uh, interesting because some say that it's totally okay, but it could be that my mic is too directional for this when I'm looking there. It might not pick my audio very well. I need to. No audio problems here. It's okay. Don't worry. Yeah, I will. Well, if the sound is no good, I think that's the worst thing in a video. Maybe louder is better. Yeah, let's turn it up a little bit. Maybe it was too. Maybe it was. Is it louder is better? Okay. Sounding choppy again. Could it be that when I'm watching or talking towards, I need to get another microphone for these live streams. I'll get one for the next one, and I'll try to speak when I'm at this and making videos. I always look straight at the camera. Now I might be looking to the side, so that's why it might be. Yeah, louder was less choppy, probably because it picks up the audio better. Yeah, I will deal with the mic problem for my next stream. So, but I think we need to go on. Need to take the next one. I hope you at least heard something about this assignment. But the whole point was that try something different and do things that you haven't done before. Photographing, I mean, and try different genres and find new subject that you haven't done before. And like I said, it might lead into bad images because you're not used to it. But you have a whole month to practice, so don't start posting like tomorrow. Wait for a couple of weeks and build up the skill and post by the or more towards the end of the month. And I think that will make the images also better. So don't rush and post your first image. Of course, you can post more than one just if you want to get some feedback for that image. I know that there are a lot of people commenting on those, and I do it sometimes. Unfortunately, I don't have the time to try to do it on these live streams and give the feedback then. Uh, all right. Okay. The sound seems better now, but I've been talking towards here. But I'll deal with that for the next, and I will probably get a new microphone for that, or I might even have you over there. So let's continue with that and see. And then there is something totally different. Try this odd style, and this might be or sound something really totally wacky, but it's supposed to be. And try to photograph everything out of focus. That's actually a style. It's called more like an impressionistic, sorry, impressionistic way of making photographs, and that was way back. People tried that. It was kind of like a counter style towards pictorialism, which was more of a real images, and before that they even did more realistic, and then they started to do this really wacky styles, and also extreme colors could be something that you really make bright colors and oversaturated colors, and try to do that, or vice versa, try to do really minimum amount of grayscale, so you have only black and white. It's almost really contrast image. That could be another one. And then it's really interesting that I think everybody should try sometimes to photograph everything from a perspective of a small child. The world looks so much different from if you go like photograph everything from 1 meter from the ground. You go out to the city to the woods and do that. And when you have the tilting screen or the articulating screen, it's easier. You don't have to yourself go as low if you don't need to. If you have the screen. So that's also something to get totally new perspective and see the whole world in a different way when you go really low. Or then another thing is photograph everything really high up. Just lift the camera up and photograph it from higher up, or go to high buildings and photograph from up to down or something, or everything upwards, so that you lift the camera and photograph up everything. That could be also something, because what the problem usually is that we tend to see the world like this. Of course, when we sitting down somewhere or standing, we'll see it from our eye level, and we have a certain perspective because of the height that we are. And breaking that can open up a totally new world to you. It might not be an odd style, but still, it's totally something different, and that might open up and look down, look up, and all that. And that's something that you should try also, and that will kind of like open up your eyes, and you will be more alert when you start looking all over the place. And also, of course, this odd style could be a style that you edit your images. Like I said, make it really contrasting, boost up the colors really of the vibrance of the saturation to the roof, and let everything break the colors and see what it is. And what happens if you photograph everything out of focus, or everything is a bit blurry, have long shutter speeds? Don't worry about if something gets a little blurry or something like that. You know, that might also work. Let's see what is. Yeah, that's a good one. What Jesse is saying, that I'm planning on challenging myself, spending the entire month with 60 mm macro lens. We'll see how long I last. Well, it depends how much you find before. But that's a good example of kind of like challenging yourself, trying to do only with one lens. Stefan, I hope so. That's one of the big points in this whole assignment thing, is to, or the themes, that you have fun and try different things. And this is also good, what JB said, that explore fully each lens in your collection. That's also a good idea. That's one way of finding out which kind of or which focal lengths you really like, and which is the most that you are the most comfortable with. That's also a good practice. Oh, this Lava 6 mm lens. That's an interesting lens. It's actually quite good, and I tested it, and it was what I was astonished is that it's almost, no barrel distortion or anything. They're almost straight lines. You don't have to fix them that much. And let's talk about another February's theme, or the assignment, is the place I often go to photograph with a new angle. So there are places that we like to photograph. I like to go downtown Helsinki, like this photograph is. There is a big statue of Mannerheim on a horse, and it's in front of the Museum of Contemporary Art, or yes, Kiasma. And there is also a small wall that's used by skaters. So this thing in front is only about this big, the little sticker or graffiti or whatever. And what I did is trying to make a totally different angle of the statue, so that you don't know, or know what it is, might see that, hey, how was this made? But it was just, go low and have a lot of depth of field, and just place the statue on the edge of the little wall. That'll work. And something like this, and which is of course an example of when you're going low, you get an interesting angle of the thing that's photographed many times. And Also, using a lens that you're not used to, or going to a place that you photograph a lot, a different time of day because light might be different, different type of weather. You could make a set of images on the mountain, the familiar place that you photograph a lot, and take the almost the same photograph every day with different time of day and different weather. That could be a nice set of images. Of course, this is about one image, but practice and think and see how that goes, because that is always an interesting way of, also if you are in a kind of like a creative rut, you could do that. Go to the familiar place and try to find different angles from that particular place. All right, let's see. Uh, Jerob is asking, do all challenge images have to be taken with Olympus? I understand that that is the case, but I want to check. No, there is no limit. The reason, like someone said, that Olympus is popular because a lot of Olympus users are following my channel, and that's why a lot of people are using Olympus. But no, it's not a camera specific. I don't. That's why I don't even on the live when I comment on the images, I don't tell what camera was used, even though you always like to say. And unless something special about the image that was not, or it wasn't, or it would not be able to be a photograph without a certain camera, then of course I will tell about that. But usually no, not at all. And let's see what we have next. And then we have this practice that is very common, that you use one lens all week. Or you can do it all month. You can do all these with just one lens. That could also be. And why only one lens is that when you restrict yourself, you will have to solve problems in a creative way. If you see something and you don't have the lens that you normally use, then you have to kind of solve the problem. How I'm going to photograph this with a lens that is not suitable for this, which is a kind of a odd way to say it, because every lens is suitable for everything. It only matters what is your kind of perspective to it, or your idea of photographing. The reason is that we are common to use long lenses when birds, and certain lenses for street and certain for portraits. There's a reason. You don't have to. You can make your own rules and try how it goes. That's also good practice to photograph the familiar thing with a different lens, and restrict yourself. Give yourself some strict rules, and you have to creatively break those so that you can get the image. And that's a good practice. All right, let's see if there are any comments. Yes, not. Yeah, you're discussing about, like I said, any camera is good, so no problem with that at all. And I really like if you use whatever camera, and like someone says that even your mobile phone is totally okay. And last year when we did the 52 assignment a little bit different way, there were a lot of mobile photographs that when you know busy week and you don't really have time to go to do the assignment, then people did that when they were commuting to work. They saw something that fit, and they do it with their phone, and it's totally fine. It's not about the gear; it's about the creativity, about the idea, and about the image. And sometimes certain type of gear might help, but it's not the decisive thing. The decisive thing is what you think here and what you see with your eyes and feel with your gut. That's usually the recipe for a good image. Let's see. Let's see. Well, there's something about from Stefan. I will try to combine this one with the challenging myself one. A long lens in the city, but not for details for buildings. Yes, that's gonna be an interesting thing. I wanna see those images. That's not easy. It depends on the cities. If you have a really big parks and open areas, then it can work. But really tight cities and narrow streets might be a bit hard thing to do, but do it because that will make you better. You will learn something. That's really, really interesting. Let's see. Here it is that I think the bonus challenge for that one is especially only one lens that's different from what you normally do. Yeah, exactly. And this was probably the answer for this one. One lens for 1 week. I could see myself only seeing and only seeking the opportunities that suit that lens. So making this work as you intend will take some self-discipline on my part. Yeah, you have a good point. When you're using one lens for a week, you might lose a lot of images at the beginning. But like you said, you will start seeing the world with that lens. That always happens to me. If I, let's say I use that 20 millimeter lens that is on my Ultra 5 over there, and then I switch to, let's say, to a 25 millimeter. Well, not well, let's say a little bit longer or a lot wider. I always am in the wrong uh, distance from the subject. Right? If I'm using the 20 millimeter, couple of days I'm using it, I'm always at the right spot for the you kind of like learn the field of view and you go to the right spot and it will be a perfect composition and the cropping will be perfect. But then you switch the lens, you're always in the wrong position for a little while. And that's why I like the prime lenses so much that you really need to learn it and restrict yourself. Of course, zoom is easier, and I'm not saying that nothing wrong with photographing if it's easier, but you might not learn that much if you get lazy with the zoom lens. That's my opinion. Oh, sorry about that, Keith. There's I wonder what the problem with the sound is, but I will try to fix it for the next one. And let's see what else is going on. Now it's we've been here for half an hour, so we will continue with some Q&A. And if you have any questions about the February assignments, then please do ask them, or any questions about something else, about photography gear, whatever. I will try to answer. Yeah, the yeah, this is a good one. A long lens, lots of photos of door handles. It depends on if it's a really long lens. That could happen. That's a good one. Yeah, yeah. This is something that I might need to do. I need to figure out this week or next Monday because this is not good. If the sound is bad, I know how annoying it is if the sound quality isn't good and to watch the video. It's I totally understand if someone wants or leaves because of the bad sound. Yeah, that's also a good idea. This is a good idea what Mark has. He said, I might really test out my vintage 50 millimeter manual lens. Previously, random results have been good, but for targeted images. Yeah, that's also another. You always remember that if it is, I don't know what camera you have, but if it's a micro four thirds, remember that's a quite long lens. It's a 100 millimeter lens. Or well, it's not, but you know what I mean. The field of view is equivalent to a 100 millimeter lens on a so-called 35 millimeter camera. So that's yeah. Someone is yes, you could use hashtag 52 assignments. That's what people have been using, and usually the best place to post the images is the Facebook group. And but I know that some has been making this as an assignment and posting them on Instagram. That's totally fine. You might not get the traction to the images that much from other participants, but that's totally fine. And then there are the monthly live streams where you can send them and see if it makes the cut. Because I want to show the best images, and of course, I would love to give feedback to every image. But I would, last time I had the live stream about your best images from last year, and there were over 100 images. That would take 3 or 4 hours, and to be honest, I couldn't do that. And I know that you can be listening to me for 2 to 3 hours just talking about images. So around 30 images is about 2 hours, and that's I think that's enough. Yeah, this was another thing for this year is that I really hope that you all make the images for assignment. I don't mind if it's okay if it was done in January or like yesterday. It doesn't really matter. But last year there was too many people posting the first day a lot of images from archives, and that's not the point. It is sometimes good to go back to your archives and see what you have done before, and you might find some gems and some nice images. But that is not the point for this particular assignment thing or theme thing, because I want you to photograph new photographs and be active on that part, so that you don't or kind of like how would I say to inspire you to go out and photograph, and this might be one reason for you to go out to make the assignment. That's otherwise you might just sit and watch TV, which is sometimes good too. But if you really want to photograph, this hopefully will inspire you. And let me see, what else do we have? And unfortunately, I cannot answer any of this type of questions because if there is something coming, I written an NDA and I can't talk about it. So you can ask, but unfortunately, I cannot answer any of the questions, what's coming and what not. Yeah, this one is also good. What Anne is saying that might try to learn use my phone camera. Yeah, that's also something you're trying something different because phones today they are good cameras, but they're not for everything that you can do with photography. They are good for certain things, and that could be also a to challenge your for February. Learn a new thing and try to take those images with a totally new camera, which could be this time a phone. And that's also a good idea. And let me see what else do we have. And do you have any questions about photography, the themes, the assignments, or anything else? Because I'm here. I'll have about 20 minutes. Then I have to do something else because I need to photograph tomorrow quite early. So yeah, this is something that I'm not really proud of myself. The problem last year was that it was almost 2 years, very little work, and then it's all of a sudden, blew up last year, and I had lots and lots of work, a lot of video work, which takes a lot of time. And to be honest, I was just too tired, and the same thing happened with the live streams. I just couldn't do it. It was struggle enough to keep up with the regular schedule with the videos. And I try to do this, but I cannot promise. That's why I try to give as much feedback in the live streams as possible. And I know that is something that I should do, and I'll try, but I can't promise. All right, here it is. I'm having good luck with my used Olympus OMD EM1. Great camera. Yeah, it still is, and I still have a few. I haven't used them for a little while. Maybe I take one of them for a spin this month and see how that is because it's most of my uh, leisure time, free time photography I could do with that camera, no problem with that. It's not about that. It's totally capable of most things. But of course, when you do professional things, there are certain things that it's not might be the one that I'd use anymore. Um, yeah, that's also a good idea to take your old camera and see how that works and go out with that and that's also challenging because older cameras, they have certain restrictions, might not be that fast, and you need to think a bit differently. And having a little bit slower camera is also a good thing because it slows you down. I don't know why we tend to photograph really fast. Now we have fast cameras and they advertising it 20 frames per second, 50 frames, 60 frames. Not most of or most of us don't need that at all. Of course, if you're doing action sports or birds or wildlife or something like that, then you need it. But most of us who don't do that don't need that. You could be totally fine with a slow camera. The only uh, problem with that is that if it's too slow, it might be hard to photograph certain things, like even the street photography to get the person in a perfect position. You might have a small shutter lag that you press the shutter and it's like half a second until it takes a photograph. It's hard, but you know you can do that if you just know how long the shutter lag is, because that's gone from the newer cameras. Let me see, what else do I have? Thank you, Sue. I'm glad that I can help you. Yeah, let's see what else. Yeah, someone was asking about the hashtag. You could use 52 assignments. That's a good hashtag to use. Then I'll every now and then I'll browse through Instagram and check if there are any. And at least last year, some did project like that that they posted the images to Instagram with the hashtag and yeah, the postings there. Let's see. John, what's the biggest challenge for you? It's supposed to be challenging, but do you feel that it is too challenging? What are your thoughts? This is great. I will soon own an Olympus OM1. Can't wait to work with film. Yeah, that is something that many of those who have started photographing with digital. I don't know if you have. You've probably been photographing longer than that, but that's something that you should try. If you have a possibility to get a used film camera or find some film camera somewhere, try that and see how it goes. It's really an interesting way of making photographs because, like I said, we with the digital cameras we tend to rush to the images for some reason because there's no need to, because you could use the digital camera exactly the same way as you use the film camera and there's no problem. But still, for some reason, we tend to rush into the images. And with film, you can't do that. You have 36 images in a film roll, or 24 even. You have to be really thinking of what to photograph. You can't waste it because every click of a shutter costs money. And with digital, you bought the camera, the more you use it, the cheaper per image it is. So fire away. Oh, okay. Now, Chris is saying my problem is thinking outside the box. Well, this is exactly one of the things that you need to do during February. Try to do something different, and it's okay to fail. I think the biggest obstacle is for many is that they are too afraid to fail. And if you're afraid to fail, it's a lot harder to succeed. That's applies to many things in life, but especially in photography. You need to experiment. And if you feel that those images are not good, then you don't have to show them. Just, try to learn and learn from those mistakes that you feel and analyze those images. I think why aren't they good? And if you're brave enough, then just post them and ask what's wrong with this. I tried this and came up with this. People will help you, and that's also another thing about the challenging yourself, that don't be afraid to fail. Yeah, this is a valid point that it might not be over challenging, but moving into new genres will take some thought. Yeah, it's might not be easy to just to switch the genre, but to try. What is your genre that you photograph the most now? Yeah, this is a very good advice from Stefan that he wants to slow down and to think twice before taking a shot, even with digital. Yeah, that's something that we all should do. I know I'm one of those sometimes that I rush into the trying not to, but it is something that you do. And there's also another thing is that when you're working with digital or photographing digitally, it doesn't matter. You don't kind of lose a roll. Thousands of images can be fit into even quite small memory cards. So that's the storage is not a problem when you're photographing. It could, of course, if you photograph a lot, it could be a problem at your computer. But so it's also a good thing to photograph as much as possible because then you learn. The more you photograph, the learning curve is so much faster with digital. But then when you have done certain amount of time digital, then try film if it's possible and see how you have changed with your photography, especially those who have photographed film in the past and then gone to digital and go back to film for a little while and then use both. And that's what I'm trying to do. I hope I have the time to do it this spring is to use old film cameras and see how different it will be. But that remains to be seen. Oh yeah, this is a good point from micro photography. Some of the greatest photographers failed, I'm sure. Yes, if you go to a exhibition, you see, let's say, the 50 images. That's not what they've taken. They've taken maybe 50,000 or 500,000 images, and they're going to the 50 best ones. The thing is, what they are good at, they are good at picking the best ones. They know what are their best work. That is also something to practice. Is to maybe I'll do that. Is to learn to kill your darling. Sometimes a good image might not fit the brief, or if you have a brief, or if you're doing some kind of a set of images, or you have some kind of body of work. Some good image might not fit. It might start a new thing, but it might not fit in your current set of images. And that is not failing, but it is doing something different. And then, of course, if you go out and let's say that you go out somewhere to photograph, it doesn't matter what it is. And sometimes you just might not come back with any good image. Then there won't be any keepers from that photo shoot. And who cares? No worries. Of course, if it's an important thing and you have to have images, different thing. But most hobbyists that do it for fun and do it for their own good feeling is the act of going out and making those images is as important as the result. Usually, if you have fun, you enjoy the process of making those images out there, you will come back with some keepers. So it's kind of same thing. But if you start stressing out and feeling kind of like uh, overwhelmed about getting those images, you will fail, and that's not a good failure. Let's see what kind of uh, yeah, this is also a good thing. I take image every day as I belong to a 365 group on Flickr. This will make it hard to find out of the box images as most of them fit into this challenge. Yeah, this is I've tried it once and I failed bad. I think I was already failing on last days of March when I tried that way back, and it was a disaster. I haven't tried that after that, but that could be something for next year maybe. Okay, this is an interesting question. Can you recommend to try one lens for a week with Olympus VA or teleconverters. Why not? Yeah, if that's something that you want to challenge yourself, I think it's a good idea. Yeah, this one did some grainy shots of old musician playing in my kitchen, caught the mood. Yeah, that's another thing that we are, or too many of us are too afraid of grainy or noisy images. Of course, sometimes noise could be bad. It depends. But sometimes you can get that mood and the feeling with noise and grain. It kind of like gives you that old image vibe because that's the way films where they were really grainy back in the day, and if they wanted to use high high ISO images of the films, they were grainy. Really, it's like a big golf ball sometimes, the grain, and you could barely see what's going on. But it was a kind of a style, and I think that's gone. We are too keen on getting totally clean images, and I can somehow understand it because it's a new thing in a way that it wasn't a thing in the back in the day, but and then in the early days of digital, they were grainy and really bad quality, and all these artifacts from JPEG and compression and stuff like that. Now you can get really nice and clean images from raw images and even JPEG sometimes. And yeah, but don't be afraid of noise and the grain in an image. Of course, it depends what the purpose of the image is. Um, Whoa, this is some retro stuff. I shot film with 1938 Leica 3 and a pair of Leica M3s from 54 and 64 respective. That's cool. That's cool. Those are real deals when you're talking about film camera. If you have an old Leica camera, that is a big thing. Now let's see if we have any more questions and ideas. I think that many of you have commented really good comments about the essence of or the basics of what photography is and kind of like put the gear aside and talk more about the image itself. And I'm really glad about that because that is something that we should discuss more is the philosophy of photography and the ideas about it because we get into the gear rabbit hole too easily. And I can understand in some ways. Of course, I have a lot of gear too much that I well, okay, I collect cameras. I'm also a camera enthusiast in a way, but always trying to remind myself that it's not about that. It's more about the ideas that I have or should have and create the images. And yeah, Stefan, Peter, do you always carry a camera with you? I mostly do, even if I don't take any pictures sometimes. Yes, I do. I do have a camera almost all the time with me. It's somewhere. I'll if I go somewhere, I'll have a camera back in the back of my car and use it. But not every time like you. I just have it just in case. But sometimes if I don't, let's say that I go to a grocery store, for example, I might not take it, but then I might end up taking some photos with my mom, and that's also kind of like a camera, and that has a bit made me leave the camera every now and then, which I did not do before. But now that the phone cameras are so good that I can use that if I see something, then I can use it with the mobile phone or take the picture. Yeah, that is the thing. What John says. I read one time that the best camera is the one that you always have with you. Yes, exactly. If there is no camera, then you might take your pictures with your imagination, with your eyes. But if you can grab it with any camera, that's the best one you have. Let's see what else. Let me scroll back a bit if I missed something. Yeah, not really. I think we But any questions about the February thing? And like I said, the problem with posting the images was my mistake with the events. I didn't realize that it can be only on for 2 weeks, and I should have realized that. But post them in the Facebook group in the normal feed, or what do you call that, where the front page, and I will try to be more active over there. But check out the link and send your January themes and assignment images so that we can next Monday go through those images and I can give some feedback. And I try to include as many as possible, but time limits always restricts that the amount cannot be well, 40 is absolute maximum. Yeah, this is good. A good point from Mark that I now resist gas because I have so much to learn about my current gear. I don't deserve bigger and better. Yes, you can make your camera better by learning what you can do with it. And also, uh, it's not about when you see a good photograph. Unfortunately, there are people that immediately think that you must have a good camera because you have such a good camera, good photograph there. But that's not the case. The photograph is good because you're good, or the photographer is good, and that's always we have to remember. And it's sometimes people feel kind of not good if they feel that your camera is kind of old and it's not as good as someone else, and they it's don't go into that. Let me see how what we have here. I think we've covered everything, and there aren't any more questions. So I will end this now. And thank you so much for being active and talking about photography. It always makes me happy when we can talk about photography and not gear that much, because there are times that we talk gear because there might be some new gear coming, and then of course we talk about that for a little while, and then we go back to photography. But always remember, if there is some new stuff coming, you always okay, there is the want. You might want it, of course, and there's nothing wrong with that. I have stuff that I just wanted, but I usually try to say people that consider and get it if you need it. Sometimes it's time to upgrade certain things, and sometimes it's not, and it's all up to you, of course. But hey, I really enjoyed this, and I hope I can see some really good images from January. And tomorrow we will start challenging ourselves. But hey, thanks for watching, and bye for now.